This is Brandon Moorfield, along with Taylor Mull, Alex Saley, and Jesse Page. Our project is Peru and the Cold War from World War II until 1990. Fernando Belaunde was a Democrat who gained notoriety in 1956 when the National Election Board refused to accept his candidacy. Finally, Belaunde would lead a massive protest movement known as El Manguerazo. Belaunde emerged as a symbolic figure after the protests turned violent. Belaunde would stop the violence by putting himself in between the protesters and the police by holding a Peruvian flag. Belaunde would create the Acción Popular Party, which distanced itself from the left-wing April Communist Party. Belaunde would run for president in 1962 under the Acción Popular Party. Controversy would delay his presidency until 1963. Belaunde's presidency was plagued by a lot of political disagreements with Congress, the APRA, and even within his own party, the Acción Popular. Belaunde was losing grip on the country, and after a dispute with an international oil company in 1968, Belaunde would be thrown out of office by General Juan Velasco. Juan Velasco's reign would lead the nation to a more left-leaning communist set of ideas. Velasco would seize internationally owned oil fields and would order U.S. boats fishing off their land to be captured and fined. Velasco established diplomatic relations with major communist countries. At the beginning of the 1960s, we see the Peruvian government electing democratic leaders such as Belaunde, and by the end of the 1960s, the country was definitely found itself as a communist country, with petroleum becoming a major player in the world's global economy. Major political decisions were made in order to secure Peruvian petroleum. Wrong decisions in the petroleum field cost President Belaunde's presidency, and President Velasco would side with Russia and not the United States in trading of petroleum. In 1969, the Petróleos del Peru would be created after Peru signs its first trade agreement with Russia.
In the 1970s, Peru continued its leftist political stand under President and General Juan Velasco Alvarado. The Shining Path was a rebellious force founded in 1970 in the jungles of Peru, and in 1976 they began an armed struggle to achieve their anti-feudal, anti-imperial revolution. The Shining Path was led by Abimael Guzman, and Clinton's ideas were in direct lineage with Marx, Lenin, and Chairman Mao. In 1972, Peru and Cuba reestablished their relations. It is also said that during this time, Peru had a somewhat close relationship with the Soviet Union and received shipments of military weapons from Russia, while at the same time nationalizing U.S. companies and raising tariff barriers with the United States. Peru and Cuba's relationship have since deteriorated because Peru tends to side with the U.S. while Cuba sides with Russia.
The 1980s were also not a time for restored communication between the U.S. and Peru. With Alan Garcia in power, Peru still was against the imperialist mindset that they viewed of the U.S. The Shining Path. The Shining Path, as we already know, was a guerrilla movement that's goal was to destabilize government structures and push Peru toward a communist state. The ideology of the Shining Path was influenced by Maoist tactics, thus making it an extremely violent group. Founded by Abimael Guzman, the Shining Path recruited many young teens and also women in urban areas in order to target foreign companies and government offices. The Shining Path was not a group of soldiers, but rather civilian dress members who used surprise attacks to take out military personnel. The MRTA. The MRTA was a Peruvian revolutionary movement which was also rising during the 1980s. Led by Victor Pule Campos, the goal of the MRTA was to establish a socialist state and fight imperialism. Unlike the Shining Path, the MRTA was a group of uniformed members who wanted their actions to be known.
In 1990, Alberto Fujimori was elected president on an anti-corruption platform and his Japanese ancestry. Peru believed that Japan was increasingly doing well economically and that Fujimori would bring that to Peru. In 1992, Fujimori suspended the constitution with the army backing because Congress was too slow to pass anti-terrorism legislation, as he now classified the Shining Path as terrorists. That year also brought the Taratar bombing by Shining Path that left 40 dead in Lima. The Shining Path leader, Guzman, was captured in a raid in Lima that started the demise of the Shining Path. In 1996, the Tupac Amaru guerrilla seized hostages at Japanese ambassador's residence. In 1997, the Peruvian Special Forces freed the held at Japanese ambassador's residence. 14 members occupied the Japanese ambassador's residence in Lima, holding 72 hostages for more than 4 months. Eventually, then-President Fujimori ordered armed forces to storm the building in April, rescuing all but one hostage and killing all the militants, mostly teenagers. This cemented Fujimori's strong stance as a successful leader. It is later believed that 8 of the rebels were executed after surrendering. An American activist, Lori Berenson, would be sentenced to life in prison for aiding the MRTA group by letting them store weapons at her home. She was released in 2011 with pressure from the U.S. After the death of leader Nestor Serpa Carolini, the MRTA, or Tupac Amaru, would disband in 1997. In 1999, the group splintering of the Shining Path due to lack of leadership after the capture of Ramirez. This causes the decrease of guerrilla activity. While the Fujimori era was economically steady, the impact of the Cold War caused the need for a strong president and the complete control of the country, something 2 terrorist groups would not help establish. With this, Fujimori used brute strength to gain control of Peru, leading to multiple human rights violations and devastation, as it has recently come out that in an effort to curb poverty, 300,000 women were forcibly sterilized during the Fujimori era.